it's Wonder Creates, and today I have quite a special video. I have decided to enter in Poppen Atelier's 500k subscriber collaboration. And if you don't know who Poppen Atelier is, they are a professional doll customizer, and they have kindly decided to celebrate their channel on reaching 500k subscribers by collaborating with their audience. Basically, they wanted their subscribers to draw out a character design and write out a bio for them, and when I watched their video about this collaboration, I was like, why not enter? So I decided to go through my art book of original characters, and I don't really show anyone any of my characters because people are quite judgmental about them in a mean way, so yeah. But anyway, I went through my book, and the first character that came to my head before I even opened the book was a character called Weepy. And I decided to record some of the progress of me redrawing this character, so let's get on with the video. Okay, so this is my original character called Weepy, and the first thing I do is to write the name of the character and the date on the back of the sheet of paper, because I just like to keep track of when I make the art and stuff, so yeah. The first thing that I draw out first is always the head shape, and the reason why I'm redrawing this character for the collaboration is because I want to get the full body on a sheet of paper and not just half a body. So that's why I'm redrawing it, and I'm planning on giving them a new updated outfit as well. Instead of Weepy's one-piece casual bodysuit onesie sort of thing. I don't know what to call it. It's a one-piece suit. So yeah, and it's just blue. And I thought I could maybe update it and make it more interesting. So that is what I'm going to be doing. And this is really good practice for us to try and get the proportions right, because I'm really bad at fitting everything on one page, and that is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to drw the head smaller, and I'm finding it really hard because I'm just really bad at drawing everything on one page, if it's a character of mine, because they usually have really big heads and stuff. And since my characters usually have a unique sort of head shape, I need to constantly compare my original drawing to my redraw. And I'm not at all claiming to be a good artist or drawer by any means. As I said before, I don't show anyone these specific sort of characters because people are kind of mean, and I do mistakes all the time, as you can see. I'm rubbing out there. And I hear art teachers all the time saying, you should not be rubbing out your work, you should not be using erasers, And I don't know why they say that, but I just don't listen to them. They say that I have to learn to not use an eraser. And if you're wondering why I'm saying eraser, it's because the British word for it is something else. And if I say the British word for it, Americans and other people who I don't know who else, but I know Americans will think it's something else, so I cannot say that word because it's rude to them, so that's why I'm calling it an eraser which, as I know, is the American word for it. So yeah, I'm trying to do my best to get around the language barriers that I may have, so in my videos, since anyone could be watching these, and yeah. And that's why I use American words here and there, just so I can get around language barriers and stuff. I heard if you're someone who's learning to speak English, you're likely to learn the American English other than the British English. I don't know why, but that's just how it is. But yeah, I use erasers all of the time, especially when I'm doing a redraw. Because of course I want the character to look like the character, and if I do a mistake, I'm going to fix it with an eraser if need to be. So I don't know what art teachers have against erasers so much. I mean, they're invented if we make a mistake. That's why they are invented, okay? It's okay to use an eraser in my book. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, as I said, I don't really show anyone these sort of characters that I draw, because the most common reaction that I get when I show someone a character, they usually say, what the hell is that? And I'm kind of bored of hearing the same thing over and over again when they look at my art. I remember when I first like started to draw these characters and I was like really like at the hype of it and everything, and I was like really happy that I was like drawing like characters like that are like original and that look interesting, that I love and up my street and so colourful and artistic and everything. One time I showed someone my art and they were a Christian and they said I was influenced by the devil. And I was like, yo, what, mate? And they were just convinced that I was influenced by the devil for my artwork. And they said my characters look evil and everything. And I'm just like, they're not evil at all, no. Well, I guess some of them are kind of mean, like only some of them, but I would say the majority of them are not evil or mean, really. Like, for example, Weepy isn't evil or mean at all. Leave Weepy alone. I would just say that my characters are just misunderstood because, I mean, it is kind of like abstract art. Like, each and every character has a backstory, even if it's just like a little backstory. Like a one-sentence backstory. Like, if I draw a character, I kind of just look at them and I just instantly kind of like get the personality sort of thing. But it is different for every character. Like, I could get more of a bio for one character and not much of a bio for another. And how I increase the bio of a character is I draw them more and I kind of draw them in different outfits and different settings, and that's where it kind of really clicks in. I'm like, right, I know who this character is now. And it's kind of like getting to know your characters more. Like, that is how I communicate with my characters, to get to know them more. And that's how I get like a backstory of them, and I kind of get the personality as well. I usually get the personality for my characters personally. They kind of like reflect the personality a lot on the outside of what they look like. But however, like, it can be kind of hard to tell like what is this character's like personality and what are they feeling. Like, I can tell because I am the artist and I am the creator and I know. But for other people, it's like completely different and they don't really know what to think. So they're just like, what the hell is that? For Weepy, for example, like, my other characters think that he's happy when actually he's not. They think that he's happy because he's a clown and he's smiling and he has colourful hair and he's colourful and smiley, happy clown. That's what they see, but in reality, Weepy is actually a sad character. What I've done to show that he's actually a sad character is that I've made him cry and I made his eyes like look off to the side. That can show that he's not really comfortable and something's like not okay, sort of thing. And the original drawing that I did of Weepy, which I'm working from now, is that I used watercolours to try and like connect it with like tears and sadness sort of thing. I also made his clothes like kind of like dull sort of colours, like I give him like a navy blue one-piece onesie, and I complemented that with a dark purple collar that's in like a puddle shape, again to represent like his sadness and tears and stuff. Like, the collar is in like this funky sort of puddle shape, and it's funky because he's like a clown and stuff. And I've done like the same with his ears. I kind of made them like puddly funky, same with his head shape as well. And he has like white around his eyes. That's kind of like to show that he's kind of like cried off the actual like paint work sort of thing. Like, he's cried off like the colour of his skin, like the pigment sort of thing. And I used dull colours for the clothes because since it's like a dull colour, it's kind of like they're feeling dull. Do you get it? And usually I think the majority of my characters are quite colourful. So this makes Weepy like stand out a bit more since he's wearing like dull colours, even though he is like a clown and he has colourful hair and stuff. So it kind of works in a way because it's kind of like bringing out the head more and like the colours in the face and the head and the hair, I should say. So like artistically, in an artistic perspective, it's actually pretty visually good that he has like a dull sort of outfit, just because it makes the head and the hair stand out. And I just think everything together just like perfectly ties this character together pretty well. Like, not only that, like the watercolours and the shapes and the dull colours and stuff like say a lot about like Weepy's like emotion. It makes like the other features of the character like stand out, which is the head and stuff. So it's kind of good to show this character's emotion, and it's also like artistically pleasing to the eye, I guess. Well, to me it is. And I don't mean to like toot my own horn or anything when I say that. I just think it's kind of like clever what I did, and I'm just like really happy and like proud of this character that I've created. Like every time I draw like one of my autistic sort of abstract characters like this one, I always like draw them from like my subconscious mind sort of thing. So I don't like plan, and I don't have like an idea or an image in my head of what this character looks like or what this character is going to look like. I have no idea what it's going to turn out like until the end, really. What I literally do is I just sit down and I just say to myself, right, I'm going to draw a character. So what I do is I just draw the head first. It can be any shape whatsoever, and then I just start from there, and then I just kind of build it up, and it's just like it's like improvisation. Which is exactly what it is, pretty much. And I am not influenced or inspired by the devil, okay? My art is actually inspired by a poem written by Tim Burton called Voodoo Girl. And it's also inspired by an artist called Julie Verhoeven, who was like a fashion sort of artist, and the work is quite colourful. So them are like my two main inspirations of what started my art style. Then from that, I kind of got inspired by other things. Then I started thinking of like emotions, and I kind of like made my own sort of symbolism of like what's the symbol for sadness, what is the symbol for happiness, etc. And I kind of expanded that on what is the symbol for nighttime, what is the symbol for daytime, what is the symbol for never ending, and so on. And so yeah, I basically made my own symbols for words. It started off by writing a list of words for inspiration. So I made a list of words that kind of like interested and intrigued, and the kind of like aesthetic things that I like. So I'm gonna like read like maybe all of the words on the list that I found. It's quite an old list, and I think it kind of needs updating a bit, so here we go. So the words that I got down is sadness, happiness, half sad, half happy, weirdness, wonder, tipsy, music, fruit, scary, land, puzzled, chess, start, end, topsy, mythical, maze, clowns, watcher. That's a kind of interesting one. Watcher, oh my god. Cards, madness, crazy, old, young, new, dark, light, twirl, impossible, blood, living, happy, death, voodoo, never ending, funny, dream, wary, stupid, opposite, witchcraft, mirror, food, chord, games, unknown, domino, mind, dodo bird, reflection, halves, fusion, mushroom, vegetables, grow, shrink, form, maths, illusions, and pointless. So them are all of the words that I writ on my old list called Words of Thinking. I'm surprised that I didn't like put like hypnotizing and trance down, because that's quite a big thing in like the poem Voodoo Girl. So I should that should have been on the list, trance and hypnosis and hypnotizing, just because it's quite a thing in the poem Voodoo Girl, and you know, that's like my inspiration. So I don't know why I put it down. But at the top of the list, I do have like a list of symbols that I drew, and I did write the symbol for trance, so yes, and the symbol for trance is one of Voodoo Girl's eyes, so yes. And you may or you may not know that I am actually a massive fan of Alice in Wonderland, and maybe you can kind of see somewhat a connection to Wonderland and my characters or artwork. But I would say my characters are a lot more like extreme, because in Wonderland like the characters are mainly like animals and normal looking people, while I would say my characters are more whimsical and colourful and artistic and abstract with usually a lot of detail, and they're just very odd looking and unusual and strange, while Wonderland characters are more like natural looking and realistic. I would say like the connections that my characters have to Alice in Wonderland, or just Wonderland as like the place, it's just like the story in it and just like the characters, like it uses like a lot of like metaphors, and it uses like, oh my god, it's so like clever and stuff, and it's just very like abstract, like the story and stuff. And I like how some things are like literally what they're saying, sort of thing. For example, it's like when the Mocking Turtle said that they had lessons and they lessoned every day, and that's why they're called lessons, because the lessons lesson every day. So like if you have like a 10-hour lesson, the next day it'll be 9, and then it'll just be like so on and so forth, because it lessons every day. Like, oh my god. And one of my favourite metaphors is like when Alice like shrinks and grows, because I look at that as like looking at different perspectives in life, sort of thing, because the world can look a lot differently like if you shrink or grow, sort of thing. Like, I find it hard to explain things, and I'm really sorry. It's like looking at things from a different viewpoint, like literally in Wonderland anyway. But if you look at things from a different viewpoint, you may understand it, and if there's like a problem, you will figure it out, sort of thing. And it's just like, oh wow. It's just people interpret like the metaphors differently, and people like get a different like experience when they read the book and stuff, and it's just like it's such a good book. And it's just like people like just read it differently, and they take it in differently, like they interpret things differently. Like when someone reads the book, they can like interpret it differently to me, sort of thing. And that's what I love about this book so much, because it's so complex and people don't understand that, and it's so underrated because it's so clever and it's so creative, and it really like bends and works your mind a lot. And it's a really smart book, and it's so creative, and I love it. I feel like the story of it is kind of like too complex for like most people, sort of thing. Like when they describe it back to us, like usually what I hear is like, oh, it's like a drug trip, and it's just, I hate that. Because I'm like, no, what about the metaphors? Like things have a reason, and like everything has like a meaning in it and stuff. Like I haven't figured out every single meaning of Wonderland. Like I haven't like studied it that hard, like hard enough clearly, because I need to know everything, okay? And I'm still like working on figuring things out and like what they mean and stuff. But like simple people just say, oh, it's just basically a drug trip. But really, this book isn't a load of nonsense as it may seem, because it does have meaning, and oh, it's just such a good book. And it's like, it's been like constructed like logically, and it's been thought through. And I just want to say that Lewis Carroll, the writer of this book, was not inspired or influenced by any drugs. If you read the book called The Other Alice, you can see what are the main inspirations, and it's a really good book. I recommend reading The Other Alice if you want to know more about Alice in Wonderland's inspirations, because you'll be like, oh, it makes more sense now. And it's not a load of random stuff, it's not at all. And it's so good. I love Alice in Wonderland, okay? I'm like, I love talking about it, and I get really excited, and I love it so much. So I'm like, sorry, but yes, read The Other Alice if you want to know more about Lewis Carroll's inspirations and stuff. And he's a very logical person, and this is such a creative, clever book. Read the book, read all of the books. Yes, I love everything. It's a great book, so underrated, so creative, and it's really, really inspirational if you're an artist and stuff, and it makes you like think more outside the box. And it's just, there's so much in the book that you can like take from, and it's just such a clever book because people interpret it differently, people see it as differently. Like a metaphor to me can mean something different to someone else, and it's the beauty of Alice in Wonderland. And yes, it's a great book. It's one of the best books ever written. It's my favourite book, and yeah, I think you all should read it if you want like inspiration, and just it's a great, beautiful book. It's a masterpiece. It is a masterpiece, and it's just so underrated. And I'm sorry for my rambling, and I'll get back to talking about my character now. And I just want to say like another thing, and I'm like, sorry. And yes, it is about Alice in Wonderland because I love it. So it's like, it's literally like a Bible sort of thing. It is a Bible, and there is like quite a few Bible references in there, which is kind of like, what? Because I mean, Lewis Carroll was a Catholic, so that's probably why and everything. But it is like a Bible as well, and it's like it is my soul, and it is my Bible, okay? And the thing is, like, a clever thing about it is like you can read it once and sort of thing, right? And if you read it again, like, you can like see it differently from a different viewpoint as well, and it's so clever. And if you read it like another time, like again, like you can like be like, oh right, I kind of like understand that now. It's just like you get used to Wonderland, and it's just like it's an incredible book sort of thing. And it's such a good book. It is such a good book. Okay, right, now I'm going to talk back to my character and how they are related to Wonderland. Okay, so basically this clown character that I'm currently drawing is called Weepy, and they are inspired by a character from the game Alice is Dead, which is of course a game that is an adaptation of the story of Alice in Wonderland, of course. And by the way, I love like different adaptations of Alice in Wonderland, because that's when you can actually see like how people like interpret the story and how like they see it. And it's just like, oh my god, I love like seeing different like art styles of it, and like how people see Wonderland and how they tell the story and how it's like different to them and how they see it. And it's just, I love it. I love like seeing different film adaptations and different game adaptations. It's amazing. It's so inspirational. It's so good. It is so good. And it just gives you like a different experience of Wonderland, and it's just so amazing and incredible, and I love it so much. But yeah, anyway, part of the inspiration of this character that I'm drawing is a character from Alice is Dead called Rulio. And Rulio is like one of my favourite characters from the game Alice is Dead, because like he calls you Peaches, and I'm like, oh my god. So Rulio is a character that is in specifically Alice is Dead 3, and he makes a living by selling mushrooms for a shiny each, or a coin for a mushroom, a shiny for a mushroom. And he's also missing his left arm, and it looks like it's been like cut off, and aww. And he calls you Peaches, and you're playing as the White Rabbit, so he calls the White Rabbit Peaches, and we don't really know why, but I love that because it's like kind of quirky and everything. But that's just so like, oh my Peaches, like, oh wow, I love that. I don't know why, but yeah. But there's not much known about this character Rulio. All he's known for is just like calling the White Rabbit Peaches, and he sells mushrooms for a shiny each. And he seems homeless, but I'm not sure. You see him like lying like on the street or an alleyway sort of thing. I'm just like, oh, I just want to like take him in and just like look after him, because like, oh, he's missing an arm, and it's like got a bandage around it and everything. And the poor character, okay, poor Rulio. And he calls you Peaches, and that's adorable. And the thing that also really inspired me from this character to make the character that I'm currently drawing is the sound of his voice. Like, his voice is just such like, I don't know, it just gives like a massive buzz of inspiration. And yes, I just got loads of inspiration, and I just started drawing this character. Rulio, thank you so much. And not only that, like, they do share like a similar sort of story of like living on the street sort of thing. And also when I first started drawing like Weepy, like the first thing that came to my head was like, oh, I'm gonna make them into a clown, so they are also inspired by clowns, and they are a clown. And also like another thing about inspiration and stuff, so what I kind of like to do, like if you have any like friends or like family members, I try to like draw them in my art style, and I like to see what would they look like in my art dimension sort of thing. And I just think it's like really interesting just to see like people that you know like in your kind of little art world in a way. I don't know if it's kind of creepy in a way, but I do usually show them the finished result, and I do kind of ask beforehand, so I guess it's not that creepy. So yeah, it is a bit weird and unusual, like considering how weird and odd my art is. it's kind of, that's what makes it weird. My art style makes it weird, and yeah, it's weird, okay? I will admit that. Even though to me, I don't actually see it as weird or that weird or anything, because I kind of understand it and I know what I'm doing, sort of thing. But I know that a lot of people, or even everyone, may probably think that my art characters are weird. And if I draw someone in my art style, I'm kind of scared, like, what if they get, like, offended, sort of thing, because, like, my characters look so unusual and not realistic at all to, like, a human being. However, that being said, my characters are actually not human beings at all. They are called Deities. So yeah, that is what I call my character's species. They are called Deities, and they are from a land called the Land of the Deities. And I'm trying to write a book about it, and I've only managed to write like a bit of like one chapter, so I have a lot to do. I don't even think the book's even going to get done. But yeah, I'm writing a book and it's going to be called The Land of the Deities, and it's going to be great. Hopefully I'll finish it. But yeah, they are from a land which is a different dimension. It's like an autistic dimension sort of thing. And yes, Weepy does live there. He lives in a cat village. But yeah, Weepy is more of like a background character, and I don't even think he might be mentioned in the story at all, but I'll see what I can do. Maybe I can write a chapter about him, because Weepy is a very special character to me. I mean, all of my characters are special to me, but like Weepy, like there's something about him that just stands out to us, and he's just like so special. And of course he's special because I chosen him to be part of Poppen Atelier's collaboration. And he was the first character that came to my mind, so he has like some sort of spark around him and everything, so he's quite a special character. So now I'm going to talk about Weepy's backstory, and I did post all of the backstory on my Instagram post of Weepy, and I had to put some additional information in the comments on that post because I couldn't fit it all on one post because it would be too big for Instagram to handle. So yeah, so if you want to see the backstory, you can look on my Instagram post and find Weepy the clown, and you will see, you can read the backstory there if you want, and you can search in the comments and see my comment and to explain the way Weepy looks and stuff, even though I did mention that at the beginning of the video, like how he's like cried the pigment off his skin and stuff. It's just like more description, things about that. So yeah. So if you want to see the post, my Instagram is Wonder Creates, and you can find it on there. You can see Weepy's backstory and bio, I guess. It's like backstory and bio, so that's what I'm going to be talking about now. So this is going to be like a basic description of what Weepy's character is and stuff. So this is like the email that I sent to Poppen Atelier and on the Instagram post. Okay, so this is what I put. Okay, so Weepy is a clown character who was created in 2015. They are from a different dimension known as the Land of the Deities. The style and fashion is inspired by the poem Voodoo Girl by Tim Burton and an artist called Julie Verhoeven, as well as they are also inspired by clowns, of course, which makes hearts, swirls, high heels, pins, stitches and a lot of colour with detail a massive part of the dimension's culture. In this dimension there isn't really such a thing as stereotypical feminine or masculine clothing because it's all pretty much all the same and neutral. Weepy was a rodeo clown who started his career in 1993. He was a comedy bull riding / bullfighting act and wears a collar around his neck saying "No One Rodeo" in small print, and a beaded necklace which each bead is in a different shade of blue and purple for good luck in his shows. Weepy then left his job due to lack of energy and being tired of doing the same thing over and over again in the same environment, and claims that I just don't have it in me anymore. Really, this is due to his only friend Bull named Melly, who died in one of his performances, and Weepy spiraled to sadness from that. He did do shows after Melly died, but it wasn't the same for him. He performed his last show in the year 2000. With no friends or family, Weepy is now a sad, lonely clown due to being jobless and homeless, but everyone is fooled by his smile and bright coloured hair, thinking he is happy and that he cries for joy just because he is a clown. Weepy currently lives in an alleyway selling his buckets full of colourful clown tears to villagers who uses his tears as paint so he can save money to buy a house or just a simple place to stay. Weepy is a confident clown who talks to villagers that walk past him, making polite conversation to try and sell his tears and possibly make friends as he is lonely and misunderstood. Nobody wants to talk to him due to living in a dark alleyway, and they find that creepy. To cope with his sadness, Weepy smokes cigarettes, which also puts villagers off to have a conversation with him. Villagers just go to the alleyway to buy his different coloured tears for paint, then leave. So that is the backstory or bio of my original character called Weepy, who I created in 2015. And if you're wondering how I got the backstory of Weepy being a rodeo clown, while I was doing this redraw, I was thinking of like the free music you can use from YouTube Studio, and there's like a tune on there that's called Rodeo Show, and for some reason the title of that tune has been in my head for a while. So as I was doing this redraw, I googled rodeo clown and I found out like some more information about them. And I thought that could really suit the backstory of Weepy and everything just connected together. So I got inspiration from that, but the hardest thing was to figure out how did Weepy end up in an alleyway? And why is he so sad? Like, I know he's homeless and lives in an alleyway, and he has no friends or family, but I wanted to expand on that, of why did he leave the rodeo? I wanted it all to connect together. So he had a friend who was a bull performer in the rodeo called Melly, and that was the first name that came to my head, so it must be true. And by the way, since this character is from a different dimension, things are a bit different compared to the real world. So there wasn't like any sort of animal abuse in the rodeo shows, as there was no bullfighting, but bulls did perform and do tricks and that sort of thing. So yeah, as I know there is no animal abuse in the rodeo shows, but who knows, there could be a dark side, you never know. But yeah, Melly did die, unfortunately, of natural causes, and that caused Weepy to spiral into a Great Depression, as Melly was the only friend he had, and the only character that he had that was closest to a family member. So he left the rodeo, and now he had no place to stay, as the rodeo provided shelter, etc. So Weepy ended up being homeless in an alleyway. So now I'm going to show you the finished pieces of drawings that I've did. So here we have the original blue onesie with the killer heels, and of course the purple paint puddle collar, which of course is featured in the first original drawing of Weepy, which is right here. Next we have the rodeo outfit, which is a very colourful two-piece costume. To make it clown-like, all I did was make it colourful and I added 2 pom-poms. And we have swirls on the left leg, and we have hearts that are still on the outfit and all around, which is a courtesy to the poem Voodoo Girl, written by Tim Burton. And again, that is one of my main root core inspirations. Next we have the middle casual outfit, which is meant to be like an updated version to the original casual outfit. So this is a two-piece and not like a onesie like the original outfit was. To update it, I basically just give it some more detail, and I added on the paint puddle handcuffs to connect it more to the rodeo outfit. So it's like he's kept some things from the rodeo, like the paint puddle handcuffs and the paint puddle foot cuffs, and of course his paint puddle collar, and his other accessories like his lucky beaded necklace, which is meant to bring luck to his performances so he does like a good performance, and his other little mini collar which says No One Rodeo, and you could even say maybe his earrings are also connected to the rodeo, and definitely his shoes. Can't forget about the shoes. And lastly, here are the design ideas of the paint buckets. So that is my character submission for the Poppen Atelier collaboration. I have made an Instagram post under the hashtag collabwithpoppen, so be free to go and like it. I have also sent them an email and hopefully they got it. I have worked really hard on this character and I really hope that Weepy gets chosen for the Poppen Atelier collab, because that would honestly be amazing and I will cry if like Weepy gets chosen. And honestly, it would mean like the world to us. So let me know in the comments if you have entered into the collab, and if you have, I wish you the best of luck. So thank you all so much for watching and bye!